frolic across the field, they got a squirt of dopamine, which
Oh, pause. Yo, my boy Joey, I get what you're saying, but we're not talking about squirting over here. You can't do squirting in this. We're not talking about no squirt. Pause. But I get what you're saying, though. But let's use dose. A dose of dopamine. No squirting. You're not squirting over here, Brody.
motivated them to go kill it. When you see a notification pop up on Facebook, you get a squirt of dopamine, which motivates you to...
It's your boy Kim Moneybag, and I'm back with another video. So happy it's Thanksgiving. Had like 3 bowl of yams already. Shout out to Grandma, she looked me out. But today, man, we're gonna do a nice little video topic on how overstimulation is ruining. How overstimulation is ruining your life, right? So, you know, I love these type of videos because I watch some and, you know, they want to tend to blame everything on the outside world as to why social media, you know, relationships, you know, this and that is making our lives terrible. Then you got some people who actually understand the context of what we do in our life is on us. You know, what we put out, you know, we get back. So we got to kind of be cautious of what we do with this lifetime. Look, let's get started.
My life, I have a very difficult time focusing on pretty much anything important or difficult. During these periods, it seems almost impossible to break out of the social media limbo, where you're just constantly switching between tabs, refreshing pages, kind of waiting for something interesting to happen, like for someone to post a cool photo.
Facts, and I can say, you know, for starters, right, we all been through this, and some of us even go through this, you know, and I be having to stop myself. But what I'm gonna say about this, right, a lot of this stuff, you know, they make it to where our attention span can be taken away automatically, you know, like how they do statistics and study certain things. They already know that these certain amount of people get trapped on social media around this time. It brings this type of audience, so we're gonna push out more of this, or push out the videos that's on this certain topic and put those to the front and put everything to the back. For example, like viral, trending, you know, explore videos, things like that. But at the end of the day, we can't really blame this on them. You know, they doing what they gotta do. They want to pay their bills, or they want to sit up here and, you know, conduct whatever message or do whatever they gotta do, right? But for us, you know, being grown people, you know, we gotta have that mental fortitude to understand that I can't blame this on them. They doing their job, they want to make their money, that's how they make a living, which is cool. I gotta just understand what's going on and use what I have, you know, my knowledge and my mental fortitude to understand that this stuff is not bad. Going on YouTube, you know, going on Instagram, Twitter, or whatever, using apps, it's not bad. But I understand that, you know, they push out certain stuff. So it's like how sometimes we sit on social media waiting for something to happen. It's because we already had it anticipated in our brain that the next post is going to bring something that the previous post didn't. And in reality, it never happens because, you know, it's just a constant, you know, feeling that you get. Every photo you scroll past, before you swipe up to the next one, oh, this is my last one. Then the last one. And that's how they get us. But we still got to have that mental fortitude to understand that that's my fault. This person not taking my finger and making a swipe up, I'm doing that.
Photo on Instagram or something, you're kind of waiting to be entertained. But if you actually have to apply yourself, it's extremely difficult, borderline painful to do so. And I'm pretty sure almost everyone can relate to this problem. I'm sure you've seen a lot of videos on YouTube giving you little tips and tricks as to how to focus better, including my own channel, but there are very few videos kind of diving in, talking about why it's so difficult to focus on hard things.
And I'll give my opinion before, you know, you finish with the video. I'll say that the reason, you know, it's so difficult to focus on hard things, I can say, is because, and I did this, is because what we actually may find as hard, or something we may want to do that we may think is hard, another person is doing at ease. Another person could break it down to you, explain it to you, and show you without a problem, and you sitting there still lost at square one. But the reason for that is, you know, we all programmed our minds to think that quick fixes and instant gratification is the best way to go. Now, instant gratification is not bad at all, but like I said, it all depends on how you use it. Some people, they'd rather go through something OD fast to get the knowledge, and then, you know, they can be good. They don't want to prolong the process because, you know, prolonging things that you want to do or completing certain goals, it could lead to bad feelings about yourself, insecurity, anxiety, because when you actually do want to start, when you want to move things further, you don't feel like you have it, or you feel like, you know, you may not be as efficient, or you may not live up to par due to the fact that, you know, you talked yourself out of doing so many things, you know, and speaking from experience, but I'm saying that, you know, you talked yourself out of doing so many things, scared to take risks, scared to put yourself out there, scared to make connections. So now it's like, when you finally at that point, you may have the courage to want to do it, but it would have been better if you would have went full throttle from day one.
You know, like, what's the deal? Why can't we just sit down and do something important with very little strain? Why aren't we motivated to do the things that would significantly advance us further in our lives? Because it's not like we don't want those things. It's just hard. So in this video, I want to dive into why we procrastinate, why it's so hard to do important things. Because knowing how this all works helps us carve out a long-term solution. It can help us permanently solve this problem. And that may sound really ambitious, but I do believe it is possible. But first, we kind of have to discover a little bit more about our human brain. So a weird thing about our human brain, I'm really trying to convince you that I'm human. The weird thing about the brain is that it pretty much hasn't changed for thousands of years.
Facts. And before you even say this part, you know, I got a feeling he gonna go into, you know, how the brain has been the same, but we, through our experience and the things we've seen and the things that we've been through, that's the way our brain is now because of the programming. So let's say, for example, right, the person growing up always had everything handed to them, always had everything easy, won't see life from a sense of struggle, or won't see life from a sense of, I really gotta go at it hard. Some people may have been, you know, breastfed and still had that urge, like, you know, I want my own stuff. And some people never seen that side of really being told no, or never really having things go their way. And in some cases, people still make the best out of that. But for me personally, I don't think it's best. Like, you know, I don't think you have to go through some OD, like, major, you know, hard shit. But, you know, I think at least it's good to see that other side where it's like everything not peaches and cream. Then you got to come back over to actually understand, you know, okay, I got to work for this, I got to work for that.
We share, for the most part, the exact same brain as our hunter-gatherer ancestors. And this is the type of brain that was evolved to scan vast valleys for the prospect of food or a fresh kill, and absolutely light up and get excited at the sight of an antelope so you can gather your friends together and run after it, kill it. This is the kind of brain that, as you're kind of going through a berry bush and you find a juicy berry, you're super excited, you eat the berry, and it pretty much makes your day. You know, it's not really exciting stuff. There wasn't a lot of stuff to do back then, but that's just kind of the way it was. And the reason why we were motivated to go run after an antelope or eat a fresh berry is the same reason, we're motivated to go on Facebook and, you know, check our
facts. And, you know, like, so basically, like, what he's saying is, you know, like, the same way how stuff was back in the day, like, you know, when it came, like, basically to survival. So when it came to things like seeing an antelope, going after it and killing it, or when it came to, you know, wanting a fresh berry out the berry tree, or doing whatever, right? You know, you had that urge was because you saw value in that, and, you know, you felt like it was something that needed to be done, and that's, you know, you wasn't going to let up without it. So it's like, the minute you saw that antelope, you like, all right, boom, fresh meat, I'm going after it. I don't care, you know, what I got to go through. I don't care if this shit running at 100 miles an hour. I'm going to make whatever strategic plan I got to, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to do what I got to do. Same thing for a fresh berry. You going through the bush, you scoping out each one until you find that one fresh one that's going to make your day. You get what I'm saying? So the same way that he's saying that back in the day stuff was at ease, that's the same way they make things now. We already know, like, of course, get up first thing in the morning, phone probably buzzing, or you wake up to check notifications, a bunch of notifications from different apps, you know, and you feel like the best source of option would be to put that, well, you know, the best option would be to put the phone down, go brush your teeth, wash your face, and get yourself in the mode of being more productive to get things done. But the better feeling is, come on, man, you're already laying down, you comfortable, you know, you still, your body will tell you, or your brain will try to trick you, you still a little tired, so let's take a little more rest. And then, you know, since you're right there by the phone, you will feel like the phone will be the best result in that scenario. Hold on, y'all. It's my little bro. But yeah, you feel like the phone will be the best, you know, answer in that scenario. And what's funny, once you actually push past the green, I'm not gonna lie, it is gonna be a lot of hardship feelings you gotta face. It is gonna be a lot of like, damn, bro, I don't want to do this, I don't like this. But see, it's like the reverse, right? A lot of the stuff that we do on the front end that we think is the best, actually hurts us on the front and the back end. It may feel like it's doing us justice on the front and the back end, but on the front end, we feeling good, but what it's doing to our mental, what it's doing to our body isn't good at all. Then on the back end, we face the results. So like, let's say for instance, a person that's close to having diabetes, right? Constantly eating junk food, constantly eating sugar, you know, on the front end, they think like I'm feeling good, but on the front end, boom, it's raising the sugar, the insulin resistance or whatever. Then on the back end, boom, diabetes. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, or let's say a person that's saying like, you know, hey, boom, you know, I'm gonna better my career. I'm gonna start on something to get this career started. So they start researching like a little knowledge or whatever. But then within the knowledge, you know, they bullshit. Like I say, speaking from experiences. Yo, a lot of the talking points I'm gonna do is speaking from my own experiences. But I'm glad I peeped those patterns, and I'm glad that I learned about a lot of this stuff. So you know, let's say, hey, boom, I'm gonna research something. I'm gonna get into it, right? I'm gonna get better at this. You doing the research, but you still bullshitting while you at it. So you know you half-assing the research, and you feeling good because it's like you can make excuses throughout that. I know I'm supposed to research this, but I kept getting messages. Somebody kept calling me. This came up, that came up. When in reality, I fall off at the tongue twister. When in reality, I knew that I could have put the phone on D&D. I could have put it to the side, locked in and research. And see, it's just that you don't want to feel that pain while you're researching, because it's like, now you watch your comfort zone. It's like, when I'm checking on Instagram or Facebook, I'm feeling relaxed. Probably have me a little snack or two. But when it comes to this, no snacks, no distraction. Gotta lock in and be fully focused. And what's crazy, that I feel like it's just a test. That I feel like, you know, once you actually put yourself through it, you see that's not bad. But it's just that it's not a habit yet. A lot of the stuff we do at ease is just habits. Getting up, walking outside, going to the store, going to grab something to eat, Uber, DoorDash, sitting up here bullshit, sitting up here partying. It's at ease because it's like, shit, nigga, I'm used to this. This is a part of me. But now, when it comes to things that you know you have to do that you're not used to yet, it's like you got to take, you know, this random part, glue it onto your body, press that motherfucker in you, and make it a part of you. So, I kind of get this point.
Our notifications, go on Instagram, etc. The reason why we're motivated to do any of this stuff is because of a brain chemical called dopamine. Now, you've probably seen a lot of videos on YouTube, if you're into self-improvement, about dopamine. But dopamine is kind of misunderstood, because most people think it's the feel-good chemical. It's a brain chemical that's released when you're experiencing pleasure. It's the reason why you experience pleasure. But that's not exactly true, because dopamine is the motivating brain chemical. Dopamine is what's released when you feel like you're about to be rewarded, or when you feel like you're about to experience something pleasurable. When your ancient ancestors saw the antelope frolic across the field, they got a squirt of dopamine, which motivated.
Oh, pause. Yo, my boy Joey, I get what you're saying, but we're not talking about squirting over here. You can't do squirting in this. We're not talking about no squirt. Pause. But I get what you're saying, though. But let's use dose. A dose of dopamine. No squirting. You're not squirting over here, Brody.
Motivated them to go kill it. When you see a notification pop up on Facebook, you get a squirt of dopamine, which motivates you to...
Alright, I'm back, y'all. I had to speak to the fam real quick. You know, I ain't really been home like that. I've been doing a lot of overtime. Been out doing my content or whatever, so, you know, when I come in, it's funny. I live in the same house with my fam, but barely see them because I barely be here. Crazy. But let's go back to the big man.
Despite the fact that we share the exact same brains as our hunter-gatherer ancestors, we don't live in that world anymore. We live in a world of supernormal stimuli. Through ferocious technological advancement and capitalistic ventures, or whatever you want to call it, we live in a...
Fact. So it's basically like, you know, back then things were more realistic, but now it's like, it's things that's on social media that's always planted in our face that seem like, you know, this is how the world should just be. For example, how people always want to say, oh, relationships, oh, don't do this, oh, don't do that, don't talk to this person, don't talk to that person, don't get into this activity, go down this career field, make your parents happy, all this extra BS. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, you get a hint of dopamine that when you go on social media, you should go about this way, you should go about that way, in the sense of just living your own life. Just saying fuck everybody and going against the grain. And not saying fuck everybody like that, but if it comes to what I want to do and we can align, I gotta say fuck you.
in a world where things are designed to be as pleasurable as humanly possible. And what supernormal stimuli does is it hijacks our natural reward pathways. It tricks our brain into thinking we are about to do something so important for our survival that we have an almost irresistible urge towards doing that thing. A good example of this is junk food. Food is integral for our survival, and high-calorie foods are usually even more important for our survival because, they'll keep us alive longer. The more calories, the longer we'll live, roughly speaking. See, what junk food does is it's mechanically engineered to be as high-fat, high-calorie as possible. So when we get that beautiful, when we eat that beautiful potato chip, our brain remembers that. And the next time we see a bag of potato chips at the grocery store, there's a huge amount of dopamine that's...
Exactly. So basically, with this point, right, the dopamine is coming from a sense of, like, the last feeling it felt. Like, even if you've done it over and over, it's going off the last feeling it felt, from that certain moment, right? So, like how you say, you eat a bag of potato chips, now your brain remembers that. Anytime you go to the store, boom, potato chips. That's like a person, like doing drugs. Anytime they get around an opportunity to where they could get high or do whatever, same thing like that. Or let's say, like, we can even go, like, for you, let's use, what's that, relationship, right? Let's say if we use relationships. Let's say if it's a person that they're so used to so much toxic drama and, that they got so much riled up energy in them, right? It's going to be kind of hard for them to be in a relationship or have something to where it's a clean slate. Let's say like a woman, she been, do so much with a man and, all she used to is fighting niggas and, them going back and forth and them cursing each other out, him blowing up her phone, them sharing locations, which seem like, I guess the crazy shit, right? You know how people be, oh, I want my man crazy, oh, my girl gotta act like this, right? So let's say that we use the context of that, right? It'll probably be hard for her to find, well, not to find, but to stick with a man where everything is smooth because it seems like it's an agenda in the back of his mind. When in reality, he understands that, as a man, there's no need to argue, there's no need to sit up here and go back and forth. I'm here to make this thing smooth and that's it. But it might be hard, for her to understand from her perspective, from her reprogramming of her mind or how things should go. And let's say for a dude, right? Let's say, how you got some of these butthurt dudes out here, it's like, oh, fuck women, oh, DTB or whatever, don't trust girls. So it's like, he may come across a girl after girl who may want to, be a part of his life and kick it with him, but he may not know how to appreciate certain things due to his perception, It may be a female genuinely showing him, like, cool, just lead me the right way. Whatever you got going on, I follow. I appreciate, being in your presence, cool. But that to him may seem like an agenda. You get what I'm saying? Or we can even do like friends. The person got a history of people backstabbing them over and over, or when they try to help a person out, that it always turned out bad. So now when it comes down to a point where it's like they come across a person who may genuinely want help from them, or may look up to them, or may be like, I like what you're doing, keep it up, I would like to learn from you. They may feel like, nah, man, this person genuinely don't want help. They want to use me and ride the wave till they get somewhere. So it's all about perception. But that's the great part about life, though. It's all a gamble. So I wouldn't really try to sit up here and predict too much about it. It's just that from my experiences, I learned I could do certain things as I go. But I wouldn't really try to sit up here and bug myself about trying to predict the next move. And hold on, let me see. Oh, at 5 minutes, cool. Well, and I'm going to say this, right? Hold on. Through my experiences, through your experiences, you will be able to predict certain outcomes. I'm going to say that. So I'm not going to say I wouldn't try to predict, because if it's something I've been through before, or if it's like something I could peep may go wrong, then I'll predict, okay, that's not good for me. So I'm gonna make sure I'm clear on that. But when I say predict, I'm saying like I'm not gonna be sitting up here trying to, overthink every little thing that's going on. Like, I go outside like, damn, damn, should I open my gate this way? Or, I go down the street, damn, should I cross the street right here? You know what I'm saying? Like little stupid stuff. I'm not saying like that, but I'm saying like, if I peep something, then, I'll kind of digest like, okay, it's just the best idea. But I'm not going to sit up here trying to have a journal, trying to write down every little thing that, I should do.
that's released, motivating you to go grab that reward that's integral for your survival. So we almost become slaves to our dopamine system. We almost just go where our dopamine system tells us to go. That's why we get into kind of social media binge, because our brain is telling us to stay on these social media sites because there's a chance that we might get a reward. We might get social validation, where we might be able to look at something kind of stimulating and naughty. It's the dopamine system that's telling us.
Talking about that hub or that XX, he talking about that. Y'all heard what he said. If you ain't hear what he said, let's go back, man. He said something interesting or naughty. Let's go back. Hold up. Let me make sure this thing's still rolling. What is that, man? Hold up. Alright, 6 minutes. Alright, cool. We good, y'all. Let's go. But nah, Joey, I'm on to you, my guy. I heard what you said.
To look at something kind of stimulating and naughty.
Look how you look to the right. You thinking about Pinky. Look. Damn, man. I remember when I was just, watching Pinky, man. Woo! The way she was throwing that thing, and the way that thing was clapping, man, with that pink hair. Whew. I remember it like it was yesterday, because it was nasty, Annie.
It's the dopamine system that's telling us and motivating us to stay there. So what does this all mean if we're bringing this all together? Basically, for most of us who have difficulty focusing, and we find it really, really difficult to be motivated to do harder things, that is only because we have reprogrammed our brain to fall for this supernormal stimuli rather than normal stimuli, natural stimuli. Because it's not that these natural rewards aren't rewarding. They're just less rewarding than the artificial, supernormal rewards.
Fact. And just in case y'all don't understand what he's saying, right? In the sense of like stimuli and artificial versus natural or whatever, right? So we already know that artificial tries to copy the real thing, but make it seem like it's, it is the product it's trying to portray. So like if we use like drinks, for example, we all know regular Pepsi, then Diet Pepsi. You get what I'm saying? Diet Pepsi, of course, it tastes a little similar, but you can tell there's certain differences. That's why certain people will say, I would rather stick to, regular soda than try to use the diet soda, because the diet soda took all this stuff to make it seem like it's the real thing. So it's like, why don't I just digest all the motherfucking sugar and try to have this say, then try to drink this drink that say no sugar, but probably 10 times worse. You get what I'm saying? So that's just like how it is for like social media and everything. So once we look at social media, right? Like let's look at social media as a whole. It's a great way to talk to people. It's a great way to, produce content, interact with people, make connections. That's cool. But in this sense, right? So the artificial stimuli, what he was saying was like things that, things that, I'm not going to say that aren't natural, but things that people look at as, is how it should be. Like this has to be a standard, or you're weird, or you're not a normal person. So let's say we look at like, celebrities or people like with a lot of clout, right? We already know people praise them for the things that they do, but it also comes with a sense of validation, a sense of, I look up to this person, and if this person, like, I'm a comment because if they wrote me back, or, if this person, sat up here and like my comment, like my DM on my message, it will make my day. So that's the artificial stimuli, because let's say that it could be another person, right? That could do the same thing. This person may comment on the post, and how we all, sometimes we be nosy, we check comments. A random person like they comment, it holds no weight though, because the artificial stimuli of, the perception they have of this person is, they're not a regular person. Like how sometimes people think of celebrities on this high pedestal that, oh, this person is God, or this person is this, or this person is that. You get what I'm saying? So it's like they getting a sense of dopamine of, feeling that, if this person responded to them, or if this person gave them some type of attention, that it would mean more than, like I can say somebody, that they didn't know or whatever. But it was crazy because, when it comes to celebrities or whatever, they get so much praise, or people praise these type of people, but these people don't give a fuck about them. So, it's kind of, funny how, like, it fits into that, scenario. So the sense of, like, the natural stimuli, like he said, the urge to sit up here and go after what you want. Back in the day, you saw the antelope, and, the antelope you was liking, and you was hungry or whatever, you went after it. Or you had the urge to go in that berry bush and find that one clean berry that, would satisfy your needs. But now it's saying that, if you compare that, like if you talk to somebody about like what he's saying, like, you know, oh, back in the day we used to do this or do that, versus like, you know, oh, this person liked my comment on social media, or this person DM me, or, you know, I posted this and got a certain amount of likes. This seemed like it's more normal just because it's more appealing to the eye and the ear of other people, rather than, you know, the topic we were talking about over here. But both are the same because it's the perception of everything. So the perception of, you know, what people did back in the day, how everything was normal, how people was go-getters. It's like, all right, cool, you know. It's like, certain people, they like, you know, I like to live my life in a more natural and sufficient way. And then, you know, some people over here, it's in a sense of like, you know, nah, I want to be, you know, filled in with the delusion and the illusion, you know, of things that go on social media.
So the long-term solution to be able to focus on boring things is to reprogram our brain to remember that these things are actually pleasurable and really good for us and integral for our survival.
Fact. So when it comes to instant gratification, right? Instant gratification could be used for a bunch of survival reasons. But when it comes in the sense of, like I said, wanting validation from others, wanting to feel good, you would feel like that's a survival tactic. Like, ooh, I gotta have this shit. I gotta have people say, you know, I'm that nigga. I gotta have people say they look up to me. I gotta have people say they like what I'm doing, because if they don't, then I'm not going to feel good. So in reality, that going after that validation and that clout, that's our survival. That's our survival tactic. That's our survival tactic for us to feel like we are somebody. But then, you know, you look on the other side of the spectrum, just being a regular person, loving yourself, validating yourself, giving yourself props, self-reflecting on what you do and why you did it and why it made an impact in your life. That's still the same shit. It's all natural. But the perception of, you know, the artificial shit is just put up on more of a pedestal. There's a lot of stuff behind this shit, y'all.
And this isn't just about a dopamine fast for a couple of days or something like that. We almost need to reset our baseline long term. We need to think about how much stimulation we want in our lives. What kind of supernormal stimulus do we want to take part in? You know, I've noticed in my own life that when I'm camping for a long period of time and there isn't much to do other than figure out how to cook a fish over a fire, or set up my tent, or go for a walk in the woods, or go swimming, or lay on the sand. In these situations, little things like having a conversation with a sibling or a friend becomes immensely pleasurable. It's the same reason why people who break out of an addiction cycle, they stop doing their immensely pleasurable thing cold turkey. After a certain amount of time, they find an increased enjoyment out of life itself.
Facts, because life itself already had everything, you know, set in stone. It's just that, you know, for us, we have to create situations. So it's like, once we do certain things that we probably would have looked at as weird or like unorthodox, once that shit becomes a habit, it no longer seems weird. It no longer, you know, gives you that feeling of disgust anymore, right? So it's like, for example, let's say if a person, you know, never wanted to do drugs, like, you know, crack, cocaine or whatever, and they say that, you know, that would never be my lifestyle. And they get introduced to a person that chooses that lifestyle and doesn't look at that lifestyle as weird. If they, you know, if they start to get a bit of the other person's perspective and actually starts trying, you know, these other person's techniques, or, you know, yeah, I sniff it like this, and, you know, I take this amount of drugs, and they get used to that, that becomes a part of them. So it's no longer weird. So before, you may have brought up about them not doing drugs, and they would have told you, like, hell no, drugs is not my lifestyle, that's not what I'm into. But then afterwards, being introduced to it, it's like, okay, it's not that bad, now I'm good. So it's like, talking to them about that now, it's like, it's nothing. But before, it would have been in the sense of, like, you know, that's not a part of me. So now they gotta go cold turkey because they bought that certain lifestyle and made it a part of them. So it feel like you gotta rip that part out, toss that part in the garbage, right? And then you gotta sit up here and become like a whole new person. You gotta sit up here and, like, I'm gonna say let go of the habits. You know, the feelings, or, you know, let's say like an addict. You know, they let go of the old habits, but sometimes, you know, that feeling or that urge or being around or seeing somebody who might be doing it, it might bring back memories like, you know, that was me. Some people may have that urge like, damn, I want to do that shit so bad. And some people may have that urge like, man, I'm trying to get the fuck up out of here. I never want to experience that again. So it's different.
pretty much everything in life becomes more enjoyable. They start to find motivation to do things other than their addiction. You know, it's something that I also noticed during the quarantine, why it was so hard for me to find my work ethic again. It's because all that time inside made me an internet addict. I spent so much time looking at screens that my baseline of dopamine and stimulation was so high that the more boring things became almost painful to do in comparison. The disparity of stimulation became so vast that I felt physical pain trying to do harder things.
Facts, and we all know about quarantine. We all wasted a lot of time, but quarantine put us all like in a mental space of like, let's see who you really are. So when it came to quarantine, right? Quarantine tested all of us to see, like, you know, like, of course, we could do things that when we got the ability to go outside, where we could go out and make connections to do this and that. But let's say sitting in a room, sitting boxing with just yourself, how well do you know yourself? And a lot of us didn't really get shit done. I know for me, you know, I came up with a few ideas. I maybe did 1 or 2 YouTube videos, copped out, got scared. Of course, I had fun, but, you know, at the end of the day, the quarantine really showed me a lot, because if I was the type, you know, back then standing on business way earlier, things would have clicked. And even though it may have been stuff that probably would have required me to go outside or go see this certain amount of go see these certain amount of people to make whatever happen, due to the fact that, you know, I was standing on business and putting myself out there, I would have had ideas off the top. So it's like, boom, I can't go to this place, I could tweak it like that. What should I look up? What site should I have? You get what I'm saying? It would have been off the top of the head. But due to the fact that, you know, I wasn't standing on business, that just carried. So it's like, quarantine, same guy, just OD bored.
You might actually look forward to reading a book. Right. You might actually be motivated to go to the gym.
Right. So to be honest, it's just like a reverse effect, right? The same things that we may do off of instant gratification that don't serve us, you know, any good purpose. And sometimes in the long run, you know, will be the same things that we think are hard, that won't serve us any purpose, or that don't make us as happy in a moment. That would be the best result. You get what I'm saying?
There will be that dopamine driver pointing you in that direction, creating an irresistible urge to go to the gym. Like, who would have thought that's possible? And it is possible because it's science. One way that I'm going to make sure I stick to this over the next month at least is I made a list of a large amount of things that are fairly low stimulus that I can do instead of doing a more stimulating alternative. That includes things like going for a walk, reading a book, talking with a friend, Skyping a friend, going to the gym. By having that list in your hand, you'll have a automatic response to that urge to go do the thing, like, you know, eat a bag of chips.
Right. So basically, it's like, you know, having alternatives that, you know, you probably think are boring or won't serve your purpose. You know, once you start to realize that the stuff that you think is serving your purpose isn't really as important, you start to understand that the little stuff is what matters the most. So, you know, the alternatives that you may think like, damn, you know, I'm not gonna like it. You know, I'm gonna be sitting up here, bored. You know, I'm gonna be sitting up here not knowing what to do. And then you actually put yourself out there. You actually see that the stuff you were picking, you can't really compare that. The other stuff you may feel a little more happy in a moment, but in the long term, you will be happy that you did, you know, the stuff that you didn't want to do.
Chips or something. So I'll make a follow-up video on my second channel on how that.
Alright, we ain't really gotta drag it out. Let me see. I think it's just about it. Yeah, we ain't really gotta drag this video out. That's about it for this part. But let me see. Zoom in. Ooh, I put the little portrait on. But y'all, I just want to say that, you know, at the end of the day, we all have a choice to make. We can't sit up here and blame social media or other people for our problems. We gotta just stand no business and do what we gotta do. I know it feels good sometimes probably to sit up here and probably blame others because the accountability is off your chest. There's no pressures, none of that. You feel like you're at ease, but I'm telling you, taking on accountability up front, and no matter how you feel, then actually reflecting and going back and understand that it's all on you, it's the best feeling, man, in the long run. Love y'all, man. I'm gone.
Rain don't fall, then the sun won't shine. And a lot of lanes for my kind. Nowadays a lot get strange even time. Put a lot of pain on my spine, trying to see what I could gain from my fun. Remember I was down to pray for a sign, strolling down the timber lane with a 9. Sending this a price of a man. Had to pick up a pen.